Welcome back to the Butler Beat. I'm Bryn Erdy. You may not know it, but Butler University has its own farm. I'm here with Tim Dorsey, who manages the farm. Thanks for joining us today, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing really well. I am thankful that we may get some rain today.
I
kind
bet.
of limits what can get done, but we really needed it.
Good. So, the farm just broke ground in 2010, so it's still pretty new. So for those who don't know, where is the farm and what exactly is its purpose?
The farm is located at the intramural complex and down by the tennis courts. At the time, it was just in turf grass. So Earth Charter student group at Butler talked to the Center for Urban Ecology, and together they were able to break ground on the farm, get permission to use that space. And they broke ground, and it was run by students and some faculty until last summer when the Center for Urban Ecology received a nice grant, and they were able to put some more money into the farm and bring on a full-time staff person, which was me.
Very nice. So that was actually kind of leading into my next question. So they hired you as a grower, correct? So what is your job as a grower?
So they hired me as the campus farmer, which entails all the actual planning and growing and marketing of the crops, and then just coming up for longer term plans for the farm, whether it's the actual growing plans and crop rotations and what the farm's going to look like from year to year, and to whom those crops are going to be marketed, but also planning for increasing educational opportunities that the farm can provide.
Very nice. It also mentions that the website of Center for Urban Ecology mentions that your title is the farm manager. So how did you earn that position?
In July of last year, the center got that grant and they were looking for the farm manager. I was recommended to Tim Carter, the director, and I was able to get my foot in the door for an interview. I think the center interviewed a number of people for the job of manager, and thankfully they decided on me. I'm glad to be here.
So what are you currently working on at the farm?
Very busy time of year right now at the farm. Planting, transplanting every day almost right now. Also finalizing the plans for this year's CSA, which is Community Supported Agriculture. It's a way that small farms often market their crops. It's sort of like a subscription program for fruits and vegetables. So we will have over between 20 and 25 members this year, which will pick up their share of the farm produce each week at the farm. So I'm finalizing plans for that. There's some things that still need to get done physically at the farm. We'll be getting the rest of the farm fenced next week, hopefully, weather permitting. There's still some beds to be prepared, growing in about 2/3 of the space now, but there's another third at least that is just waiting for me to get ready to plant and transplant into.
Very nice. Kind of moving away from what you're currently doing, the Butler Campus Farm website says that you've spent a couple months with future plans, developing a vision for future plans, whether that may be, expanding or building a shelter. Can you tell us a little bit about those plans?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what it says. I'm kind of horrible at providing the information to keep the website updated and current, but there certainly are exciting future plans coming up. I am really excited about the structure that you mentioned. In fact, hopefully in July, if everything is on schedule, there will be 2 buildings started and hopefully completed by the end of the summer. One will be a shelter, an assembly space. It's going to be really neat. We have a designer architect in town named Paul Pizzello, who's been making the plans and working with those at the university to finalize the plans. It'll be made from almost completely recycled and reclaimed materials. Kind of a centerpiece of that will be the roof will be made from the old RCA dome fabric from the roof where the Colts used to play. The timbers that hold the roof up will be from like reclaimed barn wood. It will have walls made of rammed earth, which is a little bit unusual for the Midwest, but I'm very excited about that. And then there will be another building nearby that will serve some storage purpose for us, but also sort of blend into the existing storage building by the tennis courts right now. It will have kind of some lift-up windows and a counter, which eventually we'll be able to use as sort of an on-site farm market. So really excited about that. The assembly structure will really just serve to enable us to continue the mission of developing educational opportunities. We have folks from campus groups that visit pretty regularly, and some K-12 schools in the area that visit, but we're really going to be able to increase the programming once we have a proper place to be out of the elements, a place to kind of sit down and gather and talk. Other groups on campus will be able to use the space too, so we're really excited about that. And I didn't mention it will be sort of semi-open, kind of clamshell shaped, and in the middle will be a hearth and a fireplace. So it'll be a nice place to gather.
It sounds like a nice place to gather. So when are you thinking that those plans will kind of really get rolling, and maybe by when is the shelter gonna officially be built?
The schedule says July, and if everything works out just so, it'll be July. But I kind of am not counting on it for then. If it's done by the end of August, I'd be thrilled. Some aspects of it, for budget reasons, will involve trying to get all hands on deck, so to speak, to help put some of the aspects of the building together. So that might be an opportunity for students to get involved. Maybe even learn about the process of making rammed earth walls. So that'll be neat. If it's done by the end of summer, that would be really thrilling.
Kind of moving away from future plans, I read somewhere that there are interns that kind of work for, their title, I guess, would be Center for Urban Ecology Interns. What exactly do they do? Do they work with you at all? Do they work on the farm at all?
Mm-hmm. I can't speak fully for what the Center for Urban Ecology's interns are involved in with all their projects. I want to say there are about 10 interns that the center has per se, and they're really busy people. They're involved with projects all over campus and really all over the city. Several of them have been involved really directly with the farm. A couple of them, even before I got here, when the farm started, definitely had a hand in breaking ground and getting things rolling, and the operations for the first year. 2 or 3 of them have been pretty active with me and kind of on call for when I needed a hand with this or that project, and that's been fantastic. As far as interns go, I'm looking right now for a farm-specific intern for the summer. So it'll be sort of a 20-hour-a-week approximately paid position, and I'll be on the search right now. I've got a couple folks I've talked to, but that's something people could contact me regarding. There are also some students in the College of Education right now that are doing regular volunteer work with me on a weekly basis. Excuse me. The grant that the Center for Urban Ecology received also provided money for several K-12 schools in the area to help them get started on some agricultural projects of their own. And these College of Education students are on the ground, hands-on, helping those schools develop those projects. In the meantime, they're volunteering with me at the farm, kind of learning some things, hopefully, about just sustainable local agricultural culture in general, and maybe some specific skills too.
Okay, so when you mentioned volunteer hours, when exactly, are those volunteer hours? When can people come down to the farm to help? When can people meet you?
Good question. Last year, we kind of had a couple times during the week where there was sort of an open volunteer opportunity, a couple times where people could just come. I would say that was only semi-successful. It was hard to plan what projects would be available then, when I wasn't sure how many folks were coming and when. So right now, I would encourage folks to get in touch with me if they're interested in coming to the farm in any amount of time. If you have an hour or you want to bring together a group and put in a few hours. And my Butler email address is tr.dorsey, so anyone could get in touch with me regarding that. There's a couple of faculty, what do they call them? Faculty ally and faculty in residence at some of the dorms here that have contacted me to bring students down. So that's been really nice. We've got some good projects done. There's volunteers from on and off campus. I've got a group of alumni coming next weekend to do a native plant planting with me at the farm. So that'll be really important for the aesthetic of the farm, as well as providing beneficial habitat for the insects that we want to attract, and food for our bees too. But anyone can get in touch with me, and I would love to organize a time when you can come down. But barring that, stop by and see what's going on at the farm.
So last question here. You mentioned something about bees.
Mm-hmm.
I hear that this is kind of a new thing. I think you're calling it a bee pod.
I think it is called a bee pod, and it's kind of an alternative method of a beehive. It's actually known as a top bar hive. The name of the standard beehives eludes me right now, but the benefit of the top bar hive is it's much less intrusive to the bees when the hive is accessed. So the bees sort of build their comb down from these hanging bars, and when the lid is removed, the bars can be removed individually, and you see the comb hanging from it. Whereas the traditional beehives, I think, are much better for creating volumes of honey, but when you remove the lid, you actually destroy a good bit of the comb. Our bees will produce some honey in limited amounts, but they're primarily there as an educational opportunity and really practically to provide pollination for flowers at the farm.
So thank you for being with us today. I hope people go down to the farm and help you out.
Thank you so much for having me and a chance to talk about the farm.
Thanks for joining us today on the Butler Beat. I'm Bryn Erdy.